Existentialism is a term applied to the work of certain late 19th and 20th century European philosophers who, despite profound doctrinal differences, shared the belief that philosophical thinking begins with the human subject, not merely the thinking subject, but the acting, feeling, living human individual. While the supreme value of existentialist thought is commonly acknowledged to be freedom, its primary virtue is authenticity. In the view of the existentialist, the individual's starting point is characterized by what has been called the existential attitude, or a sense of disorientation and confusion in the face of an apparently meaningless or absurd world. Many existentialists have also regarded traditional systematic or academic philosophies, in both style and content, as too abstract and remote from concrete human experience. Søren Kierkegaard is generally considered to have been the first existentialist philosopher, though he did not use the term existentialism. He proposed that each individual, not society or religion, is solely responsible for giving meaning to life and living it passionately and sincerely. Existentialism became popular in the years following World War II, and strongly influenced many disciplines besides philosophy, including theology, drama, art, literature, and psychology. Definitional issues and background. There has never been general agreement on the definition of existentialism. The term is often seen as a historical convenience as it was first applied to many philosophers in hindsight, long after they had died. In fact, while existentialism is generally considered to have originated with Kierkegaard, the first prominent existentialist philosopher to adopt the term as a self-description was Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre posits the idea that what all existentialists have in common is the fundamental doctrine that existence precedes essence. As scholar Frederick Copleston explains, according to philosopher Stephen Crowell, defining existentialism has been relatively difficult, and he argues that it is better understood as a general approach used to reject certain systematic philosophies rather than as a systematic philosophy itself. Sartre himself, in a lecture delivered in 1945, described existentialism as the attempt to draw all the consequences from a position of consistent atheism. Although many outside Scandinavia considered the term existentialism to have originated from Kierkegaard himself, it is more likely that Kierkegaard adopted this term from the Norwegian poet and literary critic Johan Sebastian Cammermeer Welhaven. This assertion comes from two sources. The Norwegian philosopher Erik Lundestad refers to the Danish philosopher Fredrik Christian Sibin. Sibin is supposed to have had two conversations in 1841, the first with Welhaven and the second with Kierkegaard. It is in the first conversation that it is believed that Welhaven came up with a word that he said covered a certain thinking, which had a close and positive attitude to life, a relationship he described as existential. This was then brought to Kierkegaard by Sibin. The second claim comes from the Norwegian historian Rune Slagstad, who claims to prove that Kierkegaard himself said the term existential was borrowed from the poet. He strongly believes that it was Kierkegaard himself who said that Hegelians do not study philosophy existentially, to use a phrase by Welhaven, from one time when I spoke with him about philosophy. On the other hand, the Norwegian historian Annelise Sipe is critical of Slagstad, and believes the statement in fact stems from the Norwegian literary historian Cathrines Bang. There also exists a belief that meaninglessness and absurdity create a behavior pattern that is not consistent with that which is considered normal. In other words, existentialism jars you out of your habits, like war, sexual disease, and the like. The individual consciousness is paramount to the societal impact one may have, and it is your reality that dictates your actions, not anybody else's.